All right. Hello, everybody. This is social media office hours. It's the first time of this stream. We have Meg Rose McMullen here. We're going to be talking about all things social media. So, Meg, tell everybody about your business. Who are you? What are you creating content for? Who are you wanting to engage with on social media?
I am looking to help altruistic women really hold space in their nervous system for the things they want to manifest. Throughout
Okay.
the last little bit, I have been realizing that we try to call in through intention and inspire action, but a lot of times, if we have had trauma or have repeated patterns of the same identity, that sometimes we will reject success or we will reject the thing that we want the most because we're not yet there to hold it. So I do breath work and coaching, and I use astrology as my framework for all of that.
I love how you're combining all these things that you've been cultivating over the
Yeah.
years. And I've heard good things, by the way, because Craig went to your breathwork practice and he said it was really amazing. So it sounds like a really natural fit and evolution. Okay, so I want to talk even deeper about your ideal clients because I feel like anytime we're going to create like meaningful, really aligned content, I think that having the person in mind that we're talking to, I feel like that really helps. And it helps me to kind of know what kind of feedback I might give when we're looking at your content.
Yeah. Her name is Sabrina.
Girl,
Um
you were ready with this. Like you got her name
I
and
know, I've been
everything.
doing it.
I love it.
Her name is Sabrina, and she is somebody who has been doing all of the work, trying all the things, and just like working on herself, trying to heal, trying to do all these things. And yet there's still everything just seems just out of reach. And every time something comes in that might be like conflict or something like a partner that's toxic or like something that just doesn't work out, she thinks that she has to go back in and re-heal and do the work and stuff, and that she's kind of burnt out or exhausted. And so she basically is just kind of done. Like, but she knows that she's here to do something bigger, something
Okay.
that's like she's connected to something bigger, and but she's just like tired of doing all the work, you know?
Yeah, yeah. What is the way, like, how do you want Sabrina to feel? Like she is interacting with your content. How do you want her to
I
feel?
want her to feel presence, that I am seeing her, that she's allowed to rest, she's allowed to take pause, she's allowed to have success. So, what that feels like is like a regulated nervous system, a minute to breathe, not forcing stuff, but like really settling into herself and being like, I might feel some discomfort right now, but I'm allowed to just pause.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Hi, James is popping in briefly. We see you there, James. Hello. Yeah, I'm allowed to pause. I'm allowed to take a break. So I do really feel like there's a theme of like taking up space for self. I hear a lot of things like because I feel like for you, Meg, like just what I know about you and have known about you for years is that I think that you really have an interesting kind of point of view and perception, and something that I think you can bring to the Sabrinas of the world in a way that it maybe hasn't been delivered before. And what is the thing that you feel like if Sabrina and the other women like her heard it that you feel would be the biggest game changer for where she's at?
That you do not have to do more work to call in the things that you desire, that
Mhm.
you can sit and you can rest and you don't have to force, you don't have to do the work. You can actually call it in from a place of rest, or even a place of frustration or sadness, or you can call in whatever you want from wherever you are authentically. You don't have to do more work.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And tell me, is there maybe without sharing any names or anything else, is there a person that you can tell me about that is kind of like the Sabrina person, and maybe just share a little bit about like because I'm just wanting to get a real sense with your content of like what we want to highlight here and how we might engage with the Sabrinas of the world. So tell me a little bit about a a success story of someone that was really frustrated, feeling like they had to do all these works and fix all these things, and that they can't have what they want until these other things happen. Like, tell me about somebody like that.
Yeah. So many of the clients that I've worked with actually have similar stories of coming in with this, like knowing that they're supposed to have this like sacred, deep relationship where the person is reciprocating and paying into them the way that they pay into the relationship and really having it. And a lot of times is they think to themselves like, I don't know what it is. Like, I just don't, I thought that if I gave myself, if I did this thing, if I taught them how to treat me, then they would care enough to do this. And so, like, obviously they don't care enough or they don't, whatever. And I think one of my favorites is that when one of the clients is lost some people, is actually back on the dating pool and is more grounded and centered. So what
Mhm.
this looks like is instead of vigilantly looking for manipulation, narcissism, whatever,
Mm.
coming back to themselves and asking, is this really what I like? This does feel good for me? Like, am I the person that this person, am I being the person that I want to be in this person's presence, right? And it's all
Yeah.
about what's aligned and it's very grounded, very stable. And so they asked when they were dating this person that just recently came up, like, oh, this, like, in real time, they said something that was like, have you heard of negging? Where like you say something mean
Okay.
and but you do it in a way that's like supposed to be a compliment. And so there's this, it's like a form of manipulation.
Yeah.
And in real time, without like naming it or whatever, was like, oh, this is manipulation. This feels like off to me. I don't care if he meant it or not. I don't like the way this feels. And then she never saw him again. And to me, that is a success story because you're not looking on the outside being like, oh, is this a result or is this a, um, you know, proof that I'm doing it right?
Yeah.
This is, do I feel good about this? Do I feel good in what's happening? Does it feel good in my body to what I'm experiencing? And if the answer is no, then just let
Mhm.
it go. It doesn't have to be a whole production. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just asking the question, like, is this what I want for me in my body?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Is there something that you are promoting or wanting to promote that the content supports? Is it more about building like visibility and kind of brand around what you're doing? Like, I guess I would love to get a sense of like your goal or intention for
My
it.
offerings, yeah. So my offerings are about breath work. So I do a lot of breath work where people come in doing during the full moon, which is coming up this Sunday, or during new moons, or like during astrological events that are specific, and I can read people's charts. And so we do a breath work that calls in that kind of energy and utilizes it for us that's specific to what's happening in our charts. And I want people to resonate with real things that are very much about rest and grounding and accepting and being okay with what's happening in your body, because you might be feeling a lot of grief right now, even if you haven't lost anything, but the world is kind of in that space. Instead of letting it consume you, let's
Yeah.
just ground into what's present right now for you in this moment.
Hmm. I love that. Or is it going to be a one-to-one breath work? Is that usually where people would start when they're new to working with you?
So for the astrological signs,
Yeah.
generally that's a group, but I
Okay.
do offer one-on-ones. And generally, I think it's really important. I'm actually push more towards the group stuff because I
Yeah.
feel
I
like you
think
get a
that's
taste
great.
of it. Yeah, you get a taste of it, especially in full moons, because full moons are a communal time where you share. And so being in group, whereas like for a new moon, I would recommend like a one-on-one because it's more internal based, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think um I think as you're talking about this, I can really see the idea that there is going to be people that might have a specific aspect. Like there's going to be some that might be focused on career and money shifts, and some that might be focused on relationship shifts and attracting a different kind of partner. And I do find for groups that it seems as though people they tend to, I think, benefit each other even more. Not to say that a mixed group can't, but I can certainly see that as you grow, like I can see you kind of segmenting it out kind of based on some different things that people are working on. Before we look at some of your content, tell me a little bit about this like kind of curated content resistance thing. I think it's something that's really common that you're feeling. So tell me about your experience.
Yeah, when I think about creating for Sabrina's of the world and
Yeah.
stuff, if I get too curated, it really shuts down my creativeness. It shuts down my nervous system, and I actually feel depleted and like daunted by the task of, sharing and writing and creating images, etc. And I end up sometimes not even creating because I'm like, oh, I need it to look this or that. And then eventually I'm just like, oh no, like I can't. And so it really makes me like, it dysregulates my nervous system.
Yeah, I find that really relatable, and I think that there's a lot of the sensitive people of the world, especially in like the wellness space, that feel like they don't want it to feel like a have to. And I feel as though like I guess everyone's going to have their own 2 cents, but through my point of view with social media, I think it's a benefit to share where you're at, to share parts of your life, because I think it helps to differentiate you from other people. And I think that people want to hear about the things that you're experiencing and want to see you in real life. I also feel like for me, I've like designated TikTok as a place where I can post like anything. Like I feel like I need to have like a playground that has like no rules to it. And is like anything I want. If it's about this is about my cats, this is about this cool tree that I saw and this idea. Like I felt like I wanted to just designate something that had like no rules at all. But I do relate, especially like with now having this like focus on social media with my business. I feel as though I used to have an easier time just putting things out there and not thinking about it too much. But there's definitely a part that has emerged that is like, oh, well, what do people expect my stuff to be? Are they going to think that I can't do these other things if I'm just like willy nilly putting these videos up? But that fully like it stops me. And it's something that I know that just I think with all these different shifts in our head, I think that our relationship with like social media marketing does kind of change. What has been helping you? Like, when do you feel like you're in your flow with your social media?
When I get to play, like if
Yeah.
I get too much in that, I will try to goof around. I will just make videos and I will say that I can't delete them, and then but I don't necessarily force myself to post them, but I kind of play and like make goofy faces because I learned once that like when you take video and you feel uncomfortable looking at it, if you can look at it from an objective place of like, this is just an angle that you haven't really seen yourself yet in, and that's why you're uncomfortable with it, it kind of takes this like pressure off of it. And I tend to be like, oh, that's okay. And I also realized too that my content that I really connect with like, and I just put like a weird like picture or a saying doesn't get as much action as even if I pick a picture that isn't really great of me, people will like it more likely than they will of this like, pretty thing that I made of like design, graphic design.
Yeah,
And so
for sure, like 100%. I think like things that look too over edited, like people tend to feel like, oh, this is an advertisement, and I think that psychologically people kind of shut down to it. And I do really feel like social media is about connection and it's about relationships and it's about people, and so I fully am like with you. I feel like the things that are a little less edited, which is why I tend to, I think, gravitate towards video, because I think you can kind of be loose and bring a lot of yourself into a video. But I hear you. I hear you on that. I feel like I don't think that there's anything that you're doing wrong, but I feel like I just want to be here to support you. And so maybe what we could do is just look at some content and see if there's any things that we might want to shift or things that we might want to change. And yeah, we'll go from there. Do you have, I don't know what's going to happen either when I try to share this. So I'm going to do like a little layout change, and then I'm going to present I'm gonna work on adding your video. Okay. I'm gonna select my Facebook, and then we're gonna go over to the post that you sent me, and I'll just click it from there. Okay, Meg. So let's go here. So let's watch this together or read this together. So I know you said that you've been focused on Facebook and you've been focused on Facebook and Instagram, which is, you know, they're definitely a pair that goes together. And I'd imagine that Sabrina is on probably both of those. Is that right? How old do you think Sabrina is?
Probably somewhere between 28 and 37, 38, 39.
Okay.
Maybe even a little bit older than that.
I think Facebook and Instagram is great. I love this picture of you. I love your mug. I love that you're in your space. Tell me before we read this together, if there was was there something that you had in your heart as an intention for this specific post?
Yeah, so this was a dream that I had, and I wanted to share about it because I had I was working through a belief through my own breathwork practices that I wanted to kind of share, and that it came through in my dreams as confirmation, being reassured, that kind of stuff.
Okay, perfect.
And I wanted to share a personal experience of how these things like work when you do the breath work, when you get grounded within yourself. They show up in these different synchronistic ways.
Okay, got it. And was this the one? I know you sent me some like different ones. There was one that did really well, and was this the one that you were thinking that you were excited about, that you thought would get more?
Yeah, I was really excited about this one, and I thought it would have more attention, and it didn't. And which was like surprising to me. So
I do find that that's like a common thing that for other people, as well as what I've experienced as well, is sometimes it's really the most like random thing, like a random video that I took in the moment versus this thing that I like took so much time like editing or writing that like does go more flat. So I think that's interesting. So let's look at this together. The Queen of Cups dream. I had a dream recently that didn't announce itself as important. There was no spectacle, no climax, no moment of being seen or chosen. I was simply present. Of course, you're an amazing writer, by the way, Meg. So I'm noticing that as I'm reading. In the dream, I wasn't the center of attention. And strangely, that was the point. I was watching something unfold without needing to intervene, explain, or be acknowledged. There was a quiet intimacy to it, a sense that life was happening, and I was allowed to be with it rather than to manage it. When I woke, the feeling lingered in my body long before it became language. That's usually how I know something is real. The archetypes that surfaced later were unmistakable: the Queen of Cups and the Eight of Cups. Together, they told the story my nervous system already understood. The Queen of Cups doesn't ask to be witnessed. She doesn't require affirmation to remain sovereign. Her power is not expressive, it's receptive. She holds, not by effort, but by capacity. This is where the Capricorn reversal is happening with this new moon. We've been sold a distorted version of it: grind, force, productivity, climbing, proving. But Capricorn at its core is about structure that can hold weight without collapse, about rhythm rather than urgency, about what the body can sustainably steward. True Capricorn energy isn't about doing more. It's about being able to hold foundation, steady and strong, as life speeds up. The Queen of Cups embodies this reversal perfectly. She doesn't spill herself outward to earn meaning. Ooh, I love that. She doesn't perform her depth. She allows life to come to her. And because she is regulated enough to receive it, she becomes the vessel through which meaning is revealed. This kind of presence doesn't chase recognition. It doesn't need to announce itself. And that's radical. The Eight of Cups is often framed as abandonment or escape, but that's a shallow reading. What's really happening is discernment, a turning away from systems, roles, identities, and validations that once provided structure, but no longer meet the depth that's required. The Eight of Cups is often framed as abandonment or escape, but that's a shallow reading. What's really happening is discernment, a turning away from systems, roles, identities, and validations that once provided structure, but no longer meet the depth that's required. The Eight of Cups is the moment the body knows. The Eight of Cups is the moment the body knows before the mind does. This no longer fits. This can't hold me anymore. It takes enormous maturity to walk away without drama, without proving, without needing to be right. The Queen of Cups doesn't storm out. She leaves quietly because she trusts herself enough to go where presence is possible. This is where embodiment stops being a concept, or worse, a performance, and becomes a practice. It reveals where I'm bracing, where I'm grasping, where I'm performing instead of inhabiting. Breathwork for me isn't just orientation. It's a threshold practice that teaches the body how to remain with sensation without fleeing, fixing, or fragmenting. I'm going to stop because I think we're almost done, but then I am going to also stop sharing so I could see you and talk to you again. Let me come back to our normal layout here. Oh, it muted you too.
I was saying, thank you for reading my work to me, because it still gives me the it feels near and dear to my heart. Like I shared this thing and it feels super good and yummy. And so I guess it's just for me.
Did it stop sharing? No, I mean, I love it. Did it stop sharing that screen? My screen looks very weird right now, so I'm trying to.
Nope, it's back to normal.
It's back. Okay, cool. I feel like there's probably like 7 to 10 different like micro posts that I would make out of that, because I feel like that's so like it's beautiful and it's amazing, and I feel like that might be one that I'm like send out as an email if you haven't already. Like I feel like I would probably make that more snackable, but then take all of these like little micro pieces out of that. And because I feel like what I really get out of that is the perspective and like the lens that you see this work through. And I feel like I love that you're bringing in the astrology, that you're bringing in tarot, that you're bringing in like dream interpretation, which is all like feel like a really big part of your work. I feel like what I would balance this writing with is just like little kind of thought snippets, like more snackable content, because I feel like the people that already know and love you, they're going to read your posts and they're going to go deep with you because they love you and they know the perspective that you share. And I feel like the videos and like kind of like the little like the ones on Facebook where you could have like the colored background before it goes to the regular black and white, where it's almost kind of like a tweet length. I think those like little short but like powerful phrases that then have people kind of have a quick reframe. Essentially, I just want to make it easier for people to kind of get a really quick bite-sized concept and like process it, and then come back to your page and kind of like look through and have the interest to go and read your longer content. And then eventually I feel like there's so many things I feel like with a business that I think that anything that I throw out there is a suggestion. You can take it or you can leave it. And I have no attachment, of course, to what feels right for you. But I could absolutely see you having a group full of Sabrinas at some point, or some kind of space or community, or like, I mean, where would you love to hang out with people before they maybe become a client? Do you like the emails? Would you rather do it in a place where people can talk to each other, like in a Facebook group?
I haven't really thought about it. I did have a Facebook group a while ago, as you know. But I think it would be cool to have like a little like a community for sure where people could talk to each other. Um, where we could have meetups and stuff where we could see and engage. That would be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, I do think like there's oftentimes like with social media, it does tend to be a place where people want to get to know us and they want to see what we're about. And that after they feel more comfortable, there's going to be some people that are just going to hire you right out the gate, right? They're going to have an immediate connection or be referred to you. But I do feel as though people get a lot from just being in community, and because you have such a communal um, group offer that you're doing with the breath work, I think it would be a really cool transition to essentially kind of have maybe the free group, or even like the free kind of Zoom thing that then essentially then they can go on and they can work with you deeper, and do the the deeper kind of work that you would offer in the group, in the paid group. I think that I think that would be the one thing that I would have you focus on, is just taking the long form stuff and then taking the parts of it that feel inspirational and just make it into like little bite-sized things and kind of sprinkle that on your page, because I think that that's going to be easy. I think it's going to go along with the written form that right now you're feeling is working well for you. And I also think it's just going to bring more eyes to your page, because I feel like that short stuff tends to get into the algorithm, and it tends to just, I think, allow people to get that feel for you and to want to go and click back on your page and be like, oh, what's Meg all about? How does that feel in terms of like fitting into the current routine? Because I would love to absolutely see you start doing videos, but at the same time, I want to honor what feels good for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the snackable, I like that content probably for sure. Um, and then yeah, my plan is to get into videos sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think that I also really like with videos, because I also tend to be somebody that's like a long form person. And I think with the short form videos, I think it can be really challenging to, because you're super smart and you're a super deep person. And I think it can be hard to be like, hey, like take all of that and put it into 30 seconds. So I personally think if you like to create that longer form stuff, I think it's easier to just create in the way that you like to create. And then I'm a big fan of Opus clips right now. So, like, let's say you wanted to do a live or a pre recorded video to teach people about things. Essentially, you can get onto Opus clips and just pop it right in there and have it create a bunch of like little tidbits for you that make it into a smaller vertical format. So I wanted to throw that out there, if that feels maybe like easier versus doing a bunch of like 30, 60,
Yeah.
90-second clips.
Yeah, that feels more natural for sure. And
Yeah.
that way I don't have to curate it as much, as I could just chat and talk and talk and talk and
Talk
talk.
and talk, and then basically pull that little snack right out of that bigger
Mhm.
piece, and then people are going to be hungrier for that meal. You know what I mean? They're going to be hungrier to be like, ooh, like I really love how Meg sees this, because you are going to be bringing these pieces that other breathwork practitioners aren't. So yeah, I love it. Like when you start getting into videos and stuff, I would love to look at a video together some point. But thank you so much for being
Yeah, thank
vulnerable
you.
and open, and just sharing your journey and just allowing the conversation to happen, helping me to go live again after a hiatus.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It was very, very helpful as always.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Meg. Well, we will see each other soon, of course. And keep doing your thing, like keep following your flow and your instinct, because I do feel like more than anything, I think it's important that we do, like you're saying, follow our own creative flow rather than trying to just like force ourselves into the box of what we should be doing, because that's a creativity killer for sure, and a fun killer. So we don't need that in our lives. Say no
Yeah.
to that. Thank you so much, Meg. I hope you have a good rest
Thank
of your
you.
week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.